Hey guys, if you're not watching the debate, you should be watching this debate. We're going to talk about how important this West Virginia game is against Pitt and how not always the best team wins. That's just the history of it. We'll get into it. It's Tuesday and it's backyard brawl week. It's the 107th meeting of the Mountaineers and Pitt. So, overall, Pitt has the better record against the Mountaineers, but it goes back to 1895. 1895. So, I want to show you a visual from Wikipedia on exactly what this looks like. Of course, the gold is West Virginia and the blue is Pitt. So if you go back, let's start back at the beginning here. West Virginia, for the first 5 years, owned Pitt, but then there was a drought starting in 1904. And from 1904, guys, until 1950, West Virginia only won five. Only won 5 games. Then you look, it's pretty even. And then you hit the 70s. And that's where Pitt was number 1, number 12, number 20, number 12, number 11, number 4, number 2. That changed when Don Nehlen came. So not only did Don, if you're a Mountaineer fan, you know this. Mountaineer Field opened up. Don Nehlen was here, and West Virginia beat a 1983 team that was a good team. And West Virginia's 1983 team was no slouch. So, then they had 85 was a tie. 89 was a tie, right? Then, of course, the 90s, West Virginia pretty much ran roughshod well into the 2000s. And, of course, the 2007, 2008 years were rough. This gets to the root of why we're here today. Just because the Mountaineers have a good offense and the Mountaineers are, on paper, a better team, you can't count on the Mountaineers to win. The proof goes back 2 years ago, 2007. If you look here, guys, there was no reason that West Virginia should have lost back in 07, 08. Now, there's a few years off. There's a 10-year hiatus, okay? But, guys, this is the backyard brawl. Throw it out, throw all records out the window. It's going to be a tough game. So, with that being said, are you going to Acrisure Stadium? Do you call it Acrisure Stadium? I tell you what, I don't. I still think of it as Heinz Field. I do. So I want to let you guys know that, I was looking through, all of the articles that are coming out on the line, the betting lines, have West Virginia as a 2.5 point favorite. Guys, I wouldn't bet on this if you gave me free money to lay down. I'm not going to do it. Let me share something with you. So this popped up 2 hours ago on ESPN. And it lists the 4 schools that are the winningest programs without a national championship. One of those national championships that West Virginia, I have no doubt in my soul, would have won if they would have beat the Pitt Panthers, was that 07 one. That's one of the best teams to not win a national championship. Okay. So what I'm going to read here: West Virginia has the most wins of a program who's never won a national title. This came out from Keith Jenkins this afternoon at 5 o'clock. So he basically says what defines a program's success is national championship. So it goes back and tells you, the Fiesta Bowl that they lost, and then in 1993 they were snubbed, and then, Rich Rod went 33-5 in 3 years, didn't win a national championship. You know who's number 2 on that list? The number 2 team on that list is Virginia Tech. Okay? There were some really good squads that Michael Vick had that were really highly ranked that didn't make it to a national championship. I remember a number 3 Mike Vick squad that the Mountaineers played spoiler to and beat. So another one, Wisconsin. Guys, who would think Wisconsin would be number 3 on this list? West Virginia has a better overall win percentage and wins than Wisconsin. Navy. And then Oregon. Oregon's on there. Oregon does not have a national championship. So why am I bringing this up? Because one of those national championships is directly tied to Pitt putting it to West Virginia, when West Virginia had every right, every fan thought that it was going to be just rolling through the Pitt Panthers like hay through a hayfield. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. So with that, talk about why it's so important. If West Virginia loses this game, they'd be lucky. West Virginia will be lucky to make a bowl. Really. West Virginia will not make a bowl if they lose this game. Now, Kansas stumbled last week and lost. But you had, guys, Oklahoma State pulled out a win. Iowa State looks good, beat a solid Iowa team. It's going to be a rough conference schedule. Even though the Mountaineers have Kansas at home, they can't look past the Pitt Panthers this week. So what did Neil Brown say about this? Well, I'm going to pull that up too. So Neil Brown opens up about the importance of this rivalry game. He basically is saying what we're thinking, that listen, we could take a huge left or stay on course and have a good season as Mountaineer faithful. But he says right here, this is one of the extremely important to the fans, and our players understand that. Well, he says, quote, this is a game that's of super high importance to our fan base. For us here, we respect the rivalry, and I think it's what makes college football great. Guys, he's saying that it's good for the fan base, but guys, it's even more important for the players. This isn't playing Pitt at the end of the season. This is a critical point in the schedule where we'll have an identity. The Mountaineers will know exactly how good they are. This is a pedestrian Pitt team. Beginning of the season, expectations were very high for the Mountaineers. Fell a little bit short Now, with Michigan losing to Texas, and it was a sound beating. As a Mountaineer fan, I don't feel as bad. At least the Mountaineers scored 12 points against Penn State's 34. But guys, this is, even Neil Brown said it. You want to be 2-1 going into conference play. You want to be 2-1 going into conference play. So what's next for the Mountaineers if they lose? Everyone said that Neil Brown's job's secure, but you're going to have people jumping off the bandwagon. Let's see what some of the articles say this week, so we know what the gossip is. And it is gossip because these folks know about as much as I do on what's going to happen here. So USA Today had some interesting reads. Let's start at the top, kids. West Virginia's picks and predictions, who win week 3. So, it is a 12:30 kickoff, a 3:30 kickoff, and then bookies.com has West Virginia to cover versus Pittsburgh. Like I said, you give me $20, I wouldn't put it on there. This is going to be a game that I would not bet on. Now, you keep going down here. Pick Dog says take Pitt in the money. Pick and Parlay says West Virginia 30, Pittsburgh 24. They say expect Garrett Green to put up solid numbers. Now, Pitt has a decent running game. Don't forget, Pitt has a very good running game. Dimers.com says West Virginia 30, Pitt 28. ESPN, they take a big poop on old West Virginia by saying Pittsburgh has a 52.5% chance of beating the Mountaineers. So you say there's a chance. Yeah, there's a chance. Well, let's go to the comments real quick and see what the faithful say. So Kelly McCourt's in here. Talk is Pitt, of course. Yeah, Tim, I've never. Okay, we got to go up here to the top. Let's start at the top. Talk is Pitt. First one in the chat. Do we ever again compare Adolf Hitler? Okay, all right. Not touching out with a 10-foot pole. Yeah, it's getting kind of chippy in here. Tim Green and Talk is Pitt talking about the cathedral learning, and so Tim. Hey, Shane, I think the backyard brawl is going to be a great game, and I think we ought to play it every year. I wish they'd bring it back, Tim. They were talking. So Neil Brown was talking about, he's boohooing a little bit about how tough the schedule is without saying it. He doesn't like the fact that there was 4 out of 5 years they scheduled away games with top teams. Alabama, even without Nick Saban, is coming to town, supposedly. I don't know if they're going to get that removed without paying some sort of penalty. But if you get Pitt on the schedule every year, let's do it. I'd rather see that than Alabama. Or maybe even Penn State. So Kelly agrees with Tim. And then Kelly says, Tim says, Kelly, how are you, sir? I'm glad to hear. Okay. So Tim is pissed off and seeing red. Okay. Now Kelly's mentioning Alabama is 26 in 2026 and probably get beat back. You know what? Alabama looked. It's like the shine isn't there. I mean, they're just not as polished, and you can see it. They're celebrating. They're acting like fools. Nick Saban would not have that happen. I don't care. And that discipline trickles down. Maybe I sound like an old fuddy-duddy, but West Virginia has pretty good recruiting class coming in. Solid kids currently on the roster. You never know. Yeah. I'm not gonna get into that. So, Shane, my opinion on this game, Pitt we're two very equal teams. Yeah, guys, on paper, just like when Coos looked at those stats where, oh yeah, the numbers look like West Virginia. Yeah, the numbers look like West Virginia is going to blow the doors off of Pitt. From history and the fact that it's Pitt, that ain't happening. If you think you're going to blow Pitt out by 4 touchdowns, you need to puff pass, because that's not happening, guys. Now 2022 Acrisure Stadium had 70,000 fans. Probably 35, 40 of those were Mountaineers. Even if you have 40,000 of your own fans, you have 35,000 other fans that are Pitt fans yelling. There's no real home field advantage at Acrisure like there used to be. That's more than a Steelers game. Yep. The town that bleeds black and gold had more butts in the seats for a college football game than they did to watch the Steelers team. And the Steelers are tied for the most national championships. So I'd rather play Alabama for 2 reasons. It's a good recruiting tool. It puts fans in the stands. Also, strength of schedule will matter in the playoffs. I think that's a good take. But I see Neil Brown's point of view. You don't want that one extra loss if you can schedule a cupcake and you have a tough conference schedule, because 12 teams get in. You're not fighting for that 4. But yeah. Oh, you're not mad at each other. Okay. I thought that was I thought he said something about being racist, and I was like, I don't want to read that, but I'll read through it here. Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, okay. That is pretty shitty. There's no room for racism. Pockets Pitt is right. Uh yeah, someone made some anti-Semitic comment as a fan, not on here, and the fans in the comments are just saying that's a bunch of horseshit and we're not going to have it. Right? I get it. So, guys, I am going, because of the debate, we're going to have a short show. Then at 9, I'm going to hop back on the Mountaineer Mafia show. We're going to finish this conversation up. Plus, I have a little bit of a headache. I'm going to drink some coffee, take an Advil. Listen, we're going to be talking about this again Thursday, Joey and I. We're going to try to get Joe Hart's here, and we're going to try to figure out exactly if 2.5 points is accurate. Yeah, that's pretty close. I wouldn't bet on this game. I wouldn't bet on it. Like I said, if you handed me $20, I wouldn't bet on it. But football is here. NFL's here. College football's here, and college football has not disappointed. If you're an NFL fan, Wednesday night, 9:00, you can watch me and Bad Bubba Brewer on Steelers Dynasty podcast. Okay, we're also on Steelers Nation Australia. Then on Thursday, Joey and I are going to do the crossover show. We're going to talk with a Pitt fan, Joe Hart's, and we're going to get after it. Yeah. So the revenue for the Alabama game will be on, and it's going to be on TV. So that is a great recruiting tool. Telling the kid, hey, you want to Alabama didn't recruit you, You didn't get recruited by Alabama? How would you like to punch them in the mouth? Guess what? We play them in 18 months. Come play for the Mountaineers. What do you think? Come play for the Mountaineers. You can get a nice crimson red stripe on your helmet from just battling it out with the team that didn't pick you, because we believe in you. Here you go, Neil Brown. You can use that, baby. But guys, I'll see you guys in about 40 minutes. We're going to tie this up with a bow. Then Thursday, it's about that time. We're going to get ready for that 3:30 kickoff. And we're going to talk in 40 minutes. We're going to talk about the schedule. Why the schedule at 3:30 when a Pirates game is going to be going on at 1? That's just a hot mess. If you're a tailgate fanatic, how does that affect you? I mean, I can't wrap my head around it being a Mountaineer fan. It's like having something going on at the Coliseum, like a concert or something. So, guys, I'll hit you up in a little bit. We're going to have a great time. Let me play this outro music. I'll see you guys real soon. Let's go, Mountaineers.